I'm Vic Myers. Welcome to the Resistance. In 1993, Bill Clinton submitted his Budget Deficit Reduction Act, and the Republicans went nuts. They said it was going to bring the Great Depression and stuff like that back. So I read it word for word, and I analyzed it, and I made notes, and I ended up with 10 pages worth of work. So I thought, well, that's a lot of work to just throw away. I printed it up. I put it in nice little professional looking folder things and put it in a manila envelope and sent a copy to each of my congressional representatives and the White House. Senate registered mail. From my Republican congressman at the time, Scott McGinnis, I got a phone call. Not just one, but two, because the first time he called, I was in the shower. He called back. And I felt represented. If he would have stayed like that, I would have voted for him in 2 years, but he went hyper-partisan with Newt Gingrich by the time the next election rolled around. Hank Brown was one of my senators. He's a Republican. And from him, I got a postcard with a stamped signature on it. Thank you for reaching out, and didn't really say anything. But it was a response, an acknowledgement that I did all that work. Ben Campbell was my Democratic Party senator. Nothing. I didn't hear a word from him, not even a postcard. So I wrote an editorial in the local paper saying what I did and how disappointed I was that as a Democrat, my two Republican representatives, they responded, they acknowledged me, but my Democrat that was representing me, he didn't. That was pretty much all it said. The next week rather, Ben Nighthorse Campbell's staff had a counter editorial against me, calling me a radical environmentalist and all kinds of stuff. I didn't say anything about the environment in my letter to them. Anyway, point is, that was the responses I got. And then a couple of years later, when I was running for state representative, the state fair, they have this thing every year where they invite all the elected officials and people who are running for office into a barbecue, and you get to mingle with politicians and wannabe politicians. Well, I ran into Ben Campbell there, and I said, Senator, I did all this work. I sent you a letter, and instead of responding to it, you wrote an editorial calling me a radical environmentalist. Why did you do that? Well, he got flustered. He left the barbecue. I cherish that moment. I'll never forget that day. I'm telling you all this because, I don't know, a week ago or so, I encouraged everybody to write letters to their representatives because it makes a difference. Making phone calls and writing letters makes a difference. I didn't talk much about the follow-up, though. But Start Terror, one of my followers or subscribers on YouTube, he or she, I don't know, commented that they sent a letter to their Republican, I think it was a senator, and the response that they got back was full-throated support for Donald Trump. But they did get a response. Well, I love Start Terror because that person took and sent that response to the local media. She got a response. And in the last few days, we've seen a couple of Republicans grow a tiny smidgen of a backbone. So when you send your letters to your representatives, make note of the responses you get and share them. Share them on your social media. Share them with your local TV and newspapers. Talk about it with your relatives. That's the next step. Don't just send a letter, but tell everybody what happened when you did. And if you don't get any response, do like I did with Senator Campbell. Write a local editorial to the editor in your local paper. These are the things, the little things. If I do it myself, just me, doesn't matter. If me and my neighbor do it, probably still not going to matter. If me and my neighbor and his brother and his cousin and my brother and my cousin, and if a whole bunch of people do it, it's going to matter. Good day.